Before you book your next cruise, pause. We've sailed nearly 60 times and booked hundreds of clients. And these 25 moves save real money, hundreds, sometimes thousands. Luxury to budget, they work. Ready to keep cash in your pocket? Let's go.
Hey, I'm Mark.
I'm Monica.
Now, all these tips are going to work no matter what cruise line you sail on, and just a few of these are for sure going to save you quite a bit of money. Let's start with tip number one, and it's all about booking early. When you book early, you're also going to get the best promotions. So what we suggest you do is put on your calendar reminders, 91 days out, 76 days out, 61 days out. Just use those and do a price recheck to see if the price has gone down. Check before that, because that's the easiest way to get that fare lowered.
Now, here's one thing to keep in mind when you're repricing a cruise. A lot of times when you book a cruise, you get amenities like onboard credits. If you reprice it to a lower price, typically you will lose those amenities. So you have to weigh the benefits and the costs of repricing when the price drops.
Yeah, always look at the bottom line.
Tip number two, book on board and then transfer your booking to your travel agent. If you're on a sailing, your travel agent booked for you and you book on board, the new booking will go automatically to that travel agent. If you book directly, then you can specify which travel agent you would like the booking to transfer to. When you book on board, you can take advantage of all the great deals and amenities and then assign it to the travel agent of your choice.
The travel agent typically will stack additional benefits, perks, and amenities, plus help you through every step of the way. But book on board deals and specials are by and large the best you'll see. You typically will not see those offers when you get off that ship. So we encourage people all the time, take advantage of that. Now, tip number three is make sure you do status matching. It's not available on every cruise line. It's not always available. But for instance, if you sail on the Royal Caribbean group, you can match your status from Royal to Celebrity, Celebrity to Silver Sea, and any of those pairings. That's really, really nice. For instance, in our case, we have best status overall on Celebrity. We were recently transatlantic on Royal Caribbean. So we transferred our high status on Celebrity to Royal, Diamond Plus on Royal, which came with all kinds of benefits, including 5 free drinks a day. It was like having a beverage package. And by the way, a beverage package probably worth $100 a day per person. So do the math on that over 14 days. We probably saved $2,000 to $2,500 just by status matching. Next year, which is pretty exciting, the Royal Caribbean Group is going to allow you to sail on any of their 3 lines and decide where you want to credit. It's nice. If you have the best status on one of the 3, credit the nights to that one and get your status raised quicker than match to the other lines. Norwegian Cruise Lines will status match Norwegian, Oceania, Region 7 Seas. You've got other status match such as Virgin Voyages. MSC does the same. Explora does the same on more premium cruise lines for status match. If you can get a match, the perks are pretty amazing. $100 to several $100s to thousands of dollars is possible with status match. Next one real quick is guarantee cabins. Look, if you want to save money, look into guarantee cabins. And sometimes that's all that's left on ships that are really booked. If you do a guarantee balcony, the cruise line will assign you to a balcony cabin. It could be obstructed. It could be in the worst location. But in exchange for that and allowing that flexibility, you can save quite a bit of money. Typically 10% to about 20% overall. That could be substantial on a few $1,000 cruise. But realize that you're probably not going to get upgraded. I mean, it can happen, but don't bank on it. You'll maybe have a chance to bid on an upgrade, but that can be expensive as well. Make sure that you're satisfied with wherever you may end up in an interior, balcony, or suite. Enjoy the savings, but realize you will more than likely not get the most pristine position.
Tip number 4 has to do with finding just the right number. What does this mean? It means you either do the all-included price. If you decide to do the no perks price, just the cruise only, and then add things back that you want, it may end up being more than if you had booked the all-included price in the first place.
Sometimes we talk to clients and they're like, okay, we don't really drink alcoholic beverages. Hey, I totally understand that. One of the all-in packages or the have-it-alls or free at seas or whatever include that. But sometimes they don't take into account that the smoothies, sodas, and the specialty coffees, those are all going to add up too. So it always makes sense to look at these packages. But we always say, do the math. It's worth the 5-10 minutes it'll take to see if you should do one of these packages. We'll put a link down below as well where we compared all the major cruise lines and all their different all-in packages and what comes with them. Tip number 5, the price step play with cabins. The way it's basically going to work is your inside interior cabins are going to be the least expensive. Ocean view, usually a little bit more. And then you start to get the bigger jump ups from balcony to premium balcony to suites. And don't forget, each one of these categories, location matters too. There's typically not one inside cabin category, not one balcony cabin category. There could be 4, there could be 5. Do you want to be midship? You're going to pay more, right? Are you okay with forward or aft? Are you okay with a high deck versus a low deck? You're probably looking at about 10 to 20% difference. The more flexible you are on location, the more money you will save. Think about like balcony, like right in the middle, your standard average cost. If you look at ocean view, 25% plus less than balcony, up to 50%. If you go interior versus balcony, at least 25%, probably more, and up to 60% less than a balcony. So kind of keep that in mind. If that's great for you, then you're going to save the most money. Some people love the inside cabin. I sleep great. There's no light. Other people would never do it because it feels claustrophobic. They want natural light. They want to be able to step on the balcony in the morning and feel the weather. We could have a video and go for 2 hours debating this topic, but just know there are ways to really save if you're a little flexible with your location.
If you have a very port-intensive cruise, you might want an inside cabin because you're not going to spend that much time in your stateroom anyway. If you're doing a transatlantic, maybe you've got 9 straight sea days, maybe you want the balcony instead.
Or just jump up to the ocean view so you get some natural light. And think about maybe how often are you going to go on that balcony? Maybe the weather is super cold and you're like, you know what, I'm never really going to even step on the balcony. I can go up on deck if I want to. So maybe then an ocean view makes sense to save some money. We covered this a little bit in tip number 4, but I wanted to list off specifically for you in tip number 6, just some of the names of those all included packages that are out there. So you can see Celebrity, Holland, Princess, Virgin, Norwegian, Azamara, and other cruise lines. Some cruise lines are very inclusive, right? So if you sail on something like Viking, Azamara, Oceania, many things are included. You don't even need to upgrade to an all-in, but usually what we call the contemporary lines, you're probably going to want to consider one of these. Now, there are lines like Royal Caribbean that doesn't have one of these packages. You add basically everything a la carte. Definitely look at these as well.
Tip number 7, final payment date. That is your repricing deadline. If you need to make any changes, if your price has dropped, you need an adjustment of some sort, you got to do it before final payment. After final payment, they may still, if there's a big price drop, offer you onboard credit instead.
They have all the leverage at that point. It can happen, but don't ever bank on it. You got to be happy at that point, and don't worry if there's a last minute sale. Don't even look at it. If the price goes up, they're not going to come back to you and ask you for more money. If the price tends to go down, it's just the way it works. Now, if you're somebody waiting for a booked up cruise or you want a last minute deal and it's been sold out and you're flexible, also circle this date, come back to that cruise after the final payment. And there may be some cabins that became available because not everybody pays their final payment. Just things happen in life and they have to cancel, but people sometimes wait to the last minute to cancel. In fact, right now we have a cruise that I know we can't take next year. I still have it booked. I'm going to release it. But the reason we still have it is because we want to pay a little change fee and move it to another booking. We just haven't decided yet what that is. So we got a great cabin. Somebody's going to get this, but it's probably going to be closer to the final payment date. So that's another tip. And some cruise lines give you full payment discounts, which are really awesome. It could be hundreds of dollars. Just understand their policies. Most of the time, if it's before the final payment date, that can be refundable, but be careful and make sure that you can get all your money back if you pay in advance and get that discount, just in case something changes.
Another word about final payment. A lot of travel insurance, if you have a pre-existing condition, has to be purchased prior to final payment. So keep that in mind.
All right, tip number 8, upgrades. People love upgrades. It's not easy these days. We've bid quite a few times. Most times we don't get it. Why? I'm not going to bid at the highest level. I'm not going to put the bid in where the cruise line says, your odds are very good to excellent, unless that price is really low. And normally it isn't. I look at the price, I'm like, that's crazy. I probably could have booked that for less at the time of booking. So here's my advice. Know what you pay for your current cabin. When you book, keep a note. What would it have cost to be in that aqua class on Celebrity or that suite that you were thinking about on Virgin Voyages, or maybe you're in an inside or an ocean view? Take the price down of that balcony cabin. Cut it in half. I would not bid more than half. That's kind of our rule because I know if I bid half and I get it, awesome, right? I save basically half from when I originally booked. If I don't get it, I'm always going to be happy with what I have. Go for it. Have some fun with it. I can't tell you how many people get caught up in the frenzy and end up spending more than they could have originally. If you want that great cabin, just book it up front. You're probably going to be better off overall. Don't bank on an upgrade.
And one more point about upgrades. It's invitation only, so there's no guarantee that you'll even get an upgrade opportunity. Tip number 9, older ships equal big value. So all the new shiny ships often are 50 to 100% more than all the older ships. If you want to save money, you can still experience the exact same service booking on an older ship.
But don't forget, a lot of ships do get upgraded, refurbished, amplified. Happens all the time. We were just on the Allure of the Seas. We sailed this ship originally in 2012. This is not a new ship. It's 13 years old, maybe more. However, they did a huge amplification. They spent $100 million. And yeah, there were spaces that we still saw 2012, but 90% of it feels like it's brand new. So be aware of your older ship, and you may realize that it was refurbished a few years ago, or they just upgraded something. Celebrity Solstice class, the original, going in for a huge refurbishment in 2026. Well, that's just going to be a completely different experience when it comes out of that. And it's going to be very nice, but still cheaper than your typical Edge class overall. We recently did a Celebrity Reflection, older ship, and it was really a great experience. It had not been updated super recently, but it's in tremendous condition. And we probably saved about 40-50% over some other comparable sailings on newer ships. And by the way, the older ships many times have the more interesting itineraries.
Tip number 10, avoid the peak season and you can save some money. Shoulder season kind of varies by location, but that's really your sweet spot as far as pricing goes. In Alaska, that's May and late September. In the Caribbean, late April and May, September and October. And Europe, same April, May, and then September and October. Perfect time to go to those places and you'll get a break on the pricing.
If you're flexible, you're like, hey, I can go in any of these 2-3 months. You're almost always going to save really nice money the more flexible you are. Now, tip number 11, we have quite a number of videos in our channel. We booked dozens of people on repositioning cruises, but the prices are still pretty great. It's still excellent pricing. And repositionings simply are transatlantics, maybe going from the East Coast to Europe or back from Europe to the East Coast, or it could be a trans-Pacific going from Japan to North America or vice versa. You could be Sydney to Honolulu, Honolulu to North America or vice versa. There's always a lot of sea days with these, but many times there's some really nice itineraries as well. You can stop in Tahiti in the South Pacific and in Spain and Italy. There's some great stops along the way. And there's even some repositionings that don't just do the traditional. There's some that go from, for instance, Asia down to Australia. There's some that go down into Africa. So if you can find, and you are flexible of time and you like sea days, you can save a ton of money. I would say easily 25%, probably about half on a nightly rate typically, including you can sell some of the luxury lines that are typically $1,000 or more per night. We see these sometimes for $500 or $600, which is a great deal. Tip number 12, real quick, cruise planner price tracker strategy. What we mean by this is, look, we always encourage people to book in advance. As soon as you book, you get offers from your cruise line. Almost always you're going to save money by booking your specialty restaurants, your Wi-Fi, your spa, your excursions even.
Beverages.
But people worry. I do too, right? If you go ahead and, like, for instance, we did a Royal Caribbean where we were on perfect day and we did one of the expensive beach clubs. It was fine. It wasn't cheap. And then 2 weeks later, a month later, it was cheaper. All I did was cancel my original booking. I got an immediate full refund and I booked on the new one. Most of the cruise lines will allow you to do that. Check the policy, of course. If you see some good savings, book it. And if a better deal comes along, almost always you can cancel what you booked and just rebook at the new price. For the cruise itself, you can certainly do the date check hack that we gave you before. Circle it on your calendar, remind yourself and check. You can even use some free price tracking tools. You can do a Google search for cruise planning price tracker. And there are several that you can log your cruise, and it will also, on a more automated basis, check that pricing. We actually do this for all of our clients when they book through us. We constantly have a tech solution that monitors pricing. We get notified, and then we notify our clients when prices go down. But like Monica said earlier, sometimes that's a little deceiving. Price went down, but you lost all your perks. So we look at everything.
And also look for deals during times like Black Friday or Cyber Monday, because that's when they'll really amp up those offers. Tip number 13, first day and port day discounts. The moment you get on board, they will be bombarding you with offers. And you may think, well, I'm just got on board. I'm not doing it today. But that's when you may see the best deals and offers. So think about that in advance. And when you get on board, go have that massage or beauty service on day one, and you can save some money.
Tip number 14, this is something a lot of people don't realize. You can book a group, and we can open a group for you. Sometimes people think, oh, a group, I'm going to need 100 people. No. Typically, from 5 to 8 cabins will get you group benefits, and the benefits can be nice. Now, it's kind of standard around 8 cabins, around 16 people. Sometimes it can be a little bit lower than that. And a lot of times for people that we book, it's just them. They have some friends, some family, and they're like 5 cabins in already. They get one more neighbor or friend to go. We can get additional discounts. Those discounts can be more onboard credit, special priority boarding, special amenities, free specialty dining, a lower price. So it's pretty nice. So if you're somebody who likes to travel with a group, you might be surprised that your group doesn't need to be 100 people. Your group could just be 5 to 8 cabins. And we or another travel advisor might be able to set you up with a pretty sweet deal with some group benefits.
Here's number 15. This has to do with specialty dining, which you pay extra for. It can be cheaper to do this at lunch versus dinner. So this is one of the packs that we do, especially on sea days, on longer cruises. Go to lunch at the specialty restaurant and save some money.
And a lot of times pricing, like for instance, could be at the steakhouse, $65 per person for a dinner, but the lunch will be like $29. It's the same food. The menu might be slightly different or maybe a little bit less, but it'll have all the all-star favorites and it's just as good. And it's a really nice thing, like Monica mentioned, to do on a sea day. By the way, a lot of you watching right now, I know you're not subscribed. How do I know? Because we get stats. 88% of you right now are not subscribed to our channel. We would really appreciate it if you would just go down to, I think, lower right-hand corner, click subscribe. By the way, when you subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything. We would appreciate join the 11.9% who are subscribed to the channel. You'll get notified of all of our new videos. We really appreciate it.
Tip number 16, you mentioned earlier, some cruise lines offer advantages if you pay in full in advance of the final payment. Some lines like Virgin and Azamara offer extra discounts or onboard credit. Azamara, I think if you pay in full, 210 days in advance, you get 5% added back as onboard credit.
Make sure you understand the refund policies just in case. It can be nice. It's basically free money if you don't mind paying for it in advance and getting the expense out of the way. Sometimes there's even savings if you don't pay with credit card. For instance, Viking will offer you usually a discount if you do a electronic bank transfer. That's when final payment is. You don't have to necessarily pay in advance early, but it can be a few percent. So that can be a really nice little savings, especially when those are more expensive overall. Another thing to be aware of, tip number 17, is there can be, not always, everybody always thinks that there's senior discounts. If you live in Florida and you're military, there is and there isn't. They're definitely out there, but always let your travel advisor know if you're a teacher, a retired teacher, military, what state you're from, law enforcement, et cetera, because there can be some nice discounts. We are in Florida now and we did a celebrity sailing. We saved quite a bit on a Florida discount, but it's not on every sailing. It depends if the cruise line is trying to fill up that sailing. Now, people sometimes think also, well, it's going out of Florida, the discounts are only going to be for Florida. That's not true. Many times it could be they're trying to pull people in from New York or Texas. They'll have other states that they will give discounts. It's just don't count on it, but always make sure that we know, what associations, affinities, career, et cetera, you have. It's worth at least giving us a chance to look at it so we can get you those savings or perks.
Tip number 18, upgrade your Wi-Fi before sailing. Once you get on board, it's going to cost more than it would if you booked it in advance. We mentioned Starlink earlier. It's the best thing to happen to cruising for us because a lot of ships now have Starlink and you can work on board, and it's been a game changer for us.
One other quick thing is sometimes with some of these all-in packages, you'll get more of the standard Wi-Fi, which is great for a website, checking email, Facebook or Instagram, but it's not really for streaming. So you may have to pay more for streaming. Also book that typically in advance because you'll usually get some savings. Tip 19 is loyalty absolutely pays. If you can stay loyal to certain cruise lines beyond status matching, you're going to be well rewarded. Most cruise lines have a really nice loyalty program with a lot of perks and amenities. The best perks and amenities come later. You got to earn it a little bit. In the beginning, it might be a very small discount, a free ice cream cone, $1 off the laundry. It's not that impressive. If you can hold out a little bit and reward those cruise lines a bit more, then you start to get some really valuable things that really do save you money. When you start to get free Wi-Fi or free drinks or discounts, short excursions, or even like some of the cruise lines will give you a discount on your next cruise if you're part of the loyalty program. We've had up to 7% discounts on board. That's measurable. That's real savings. So if you can, stay loyal. If you're like us, we like to try a lot of different cruise lines, but we do make sure that we come back to a handful on a repeated basis because of that status. Tip 20 is pay with the right credit card. This is not going to be the video where we can give you a whole course on travel hacking, credit card hacking, but at least be aware of what credit cards you have that may give you multipliers on travel. Put the final payment or the deposit on that card. It's easy to forget and put it on the card that maybe only pays you 1x. There are some that will pay you double or even triple for travel. So why not take advantage of that? Understand too what kind of travel protection those cards have when you're traveling internationally. Never click the USD button if you're from the US and you pay with your card, but it might say euros or USD. Always pick euros. Let your bank convert it. It's virtually always going to save you a lot of money. Don't pick USD. Don't let them convert it because you're going to pay probably double what your bank's going to charge you.
Tip number 21, we always recommend use a cruise specialist travel agent. Doesn't have to be us, but find one that you like. and use them because they can add extras like onboard credit and other perks. They have sometimes access to special blocked pricing, things like that. So it does pay to use a special travel agent.
It's pretty shocking sometimes what we can save people. Again, if you give us a little flexibility, and like Monica said, it doesn't have to be us, but it should be us. No, I'm kidding. But if you use a travel advisor, we definitely have access to things you probably just don't see, because probably dozens of times a day, we're getting into systems and seeing what's available. We have a link down below in the description, in the pinned comment, with the link that you can go to. If you go there, you can put some information in, and one of us will personally get back to you and tell you what we can do for you on a cruise that you are interested in.
It costs you nothing to use us, by the way.
Tip number 22, sign up and stack up everything. Many amenities and perks are combinable. Not all of them, there are exceptions, of course, but get on email lists, get on social media, work with your travel advisor, book on board. There may be a sale. Many, many times these things stack on top of each other. So you can get 4 or 5 different savings all in one. We see it happen all the time.
Tip number 23, solo cruising smart. We know we have a lot of solo cruisers out there. Some cruise lines are more friendly to solos than others. Some actually have solo cabins like Virgin, Norwegian, Celebrity Edge class has a solo cabin. So you can get good deals on those without having to pay that extra solo supplement. In river cruises, sometimes they waive that solo supplement. So if you're interested in a river cruise, find out about that. That can really save you some money.
Sometimes on a river cruise, it's certain cabins where they will waive most of the solo supplement, and other ones on that ship they won't. Or certain sailings have it completely waived. So again, flexibility, if you give us some and you're solo, we can usually find you a deal. If you have to go on a certain date or a certain sailing, that's when it gets more challenging. But with some flexibility, there's no reason to pay double, which unfortunately happens a lot for solo travelers. Tip 24, make sure if you get insurance, and a lot of people do, and maybe you really should, it actually covers you. You need to look for some in-depth coverage. Many times what's sold directly by the cruise line or the river cruise line, it's okay, but it tends to be expensive and you don't get a lot for your money. So you may want to look to a third party like an Allianz or others that are out there, because you may see additional benefits and coverage.
Typically, insurance sold by the cruise line covers only what they sell. Like the cruise itself, if you do the flights through them, it will cover that. We also offer Allianz travel insurance that can cover you door to door. So you can add all your non-refundable components and it covers your entire trip.
All right, tip 25, price the tips up front. Just realize there are gratuities. There are some cruise lines where gratuities are included. Oceania, Azamara. Look, it adds up. It sometimes surprises people at the end of the cruise what this costs. And if you're in a suite, it can be even more on a nightly basis. So just budget for that in advance. Some people like to automatically prepay it so they don't have to worry about it when they're on the ship. If you're getting onboard credit, the onboard credit may be a perfect use. There are sometimes discounts for paying these up front. I know Virgin offers a discount for this. Don't count on that overall. But I think for some people, just paying it up front and getting it out of the way makes for a more pleasant experience and no surprises. Once you're on board, it might be easier for budgeting. Or focus on cruise lines where it's included. Do us a favor. In the comments down below, tell us which of these tips is your favorite. If you have additional tips, what would tip number 26 be? Share that with everybody. We would absolutely love to see that. Please give the video a thumbs up. If you need any price quotes or help on your next cruise, you got the link down below. More than happy to help you with that.
We'll see you out there.
See you out there.